Meech is calling out Rick Ross for leaving him in a tough situation after making big promises. Honestly, Meech isn't just upset, he's really angry. When Big Meech decided to work with Rick Ross, it wasn't just about the music. Ross had a clear plan in mind. He came in talking big, promising Meech a lot of things: a new show, a bigger budget, and even a big concert to celebrate his return. At the time, everything sounded
2-3 hours, like, I'm at the Louis store. I'm like, what? What the? I could have saved this bitch $5,000 outfit.
amazing. But now it seems like Rick Ross has disappeared. He didn't keep any of the promises he made, and now he's in a panic. Big Meech has every right to be upset because if there's one thing we know about him, it's that he doesn't take betrayal lightly. To make things worse, 50 Cent has been relentless with his jabs ever since Meech teamed up with Rick Ross. As soon as Big Meech and Rick Ross teamed up for the Welcome Home concert, 50 rushed to Instagram to roast the whole situation. At first, Ross had big plans for Meech after he got out of prison. He was talking about this major Welcome Home concert, which was supposed to be a huge event. Meech was even promised a share of the ticket sales, which would be a nice payday for him. But here's the problem: the concert never happened. At the last minute, everything was cancelled. Why? Well, federal agents apparently swooped in with letters to shut everything down. This led to rumors starting to spread. Let's be real. Who else could have that kind of power to stop things like this? Many people started to speculate that 50 Cent had something to do with it. Now, 50 Cent hasn't openly said he was behind it, but he certainly had a lot to say when Boozy Badazz talked about the situation during a Vlad TV interview. 50 jumped onto Instagram to mock the whole thing, posting a message that said, "Hey, I'm just asking for a friend. Does this mean the show isn't going to happen?" It was pure disrespect. What's even more interesting is that 50 predicted the whole thing. He said the concert would be shut down before it even happened, and then distanced himself from the situation, acting like he wasn't enjoying it all. But the worst part of
He's saying, how did Meech have information on you and give it to Tammy so you could get caught up in it? How did that happen? So that means you got to go back to the movies. Right, that's that. Oh, Meech and Tammy was trying to get Suarez.
Exactly. But when the government found out she was in contact with me, they switched the investigation toward me.
is that when things fell apart and Big Meech was struggling, Rick Ross did nothing to help him. Ross just hung around in the background, waiting to use Meech as a pawn in his ongoing feud with 50 Cent. Recently, 50 Cent stirred things up even more by sharing a photo of a woman named Tammy, who has been accused of being a federal informant. To add to the drama, 50 posted what he claimed were text messages between him and Tammy. In those messages, 50 asked her if Meech knew she was working with the authorities while he was in prison. Tammy gave a detailed response, and 50 teased that the truth would be revealed soon. It's worth noting that just last week, 50 Cent was already targeting Meech with accusations of snitching. He even boldly said, "Listen to the words, big screech. You keep forgetting you told Tammy Cowens to get your time cuts."
I'm watching movies. I'm like, man, acting must just be reading lines off of paper, like something like this. You know, when I get there, you're like, hey, don't look at the paper. Imagine your mom and dad in the casket right now.
But then Big...
This isn't just 50 Cent stirring up drama for attention. Others like Blue, Da Vinci, and Cuffy have also come forward, claiming that Big Meech played a role in their incarceration. They say he used Tammy Cowens as an informant. So, the whole big screech narrative isn't just a made-up rumor. Industry insiders have been talking about this for a while, and it seems like there may be more to the story than Meech is letting on. Before all this trouble, 50 Cent had actually been helping Lil Meech. He had supported him by funding his acting lessons for his role in the BMF series and even managing his business dealings.
Yeah. So look, I do want to do a BMF film because you've been entertained by a lackluster, small budget series. Now it's time to do a big budget film.
When rumors spread about Lil Meech struggling with substance abuse, 50 Cent stepped in and paid for him to go to rehab. That shows how close their relationship was. In the end, the situation with Big Meech, Rick Ross, and 50 Cent is much more complicated than it first appeared. There are a lot of unanswered questions, and it's clear that trust has been broken in more ways than one. After Big Meech changed his alliances and started getting closer to Rick Ross, 50 Cent decided to cut ties with everyone involved. He made it clear that he was ending the BMF series, which is the main source of income for Lil Meech. Both Meech and his son are now facing financial difficulties. To make things worse, 50 Cent has been acting petty by blurring and altering Lil Meech's face whenever he posts anything related to BMF, almost as if he's trying to erase him from the picture entirely. The situation got even worse when the Welcome Home concert for Big Meech fell through. Rick Ross didn't stay quiet about this. Instead of letting it go, he started making more claims. He even said that he was planning to create his own BMF series, one that would have a bigger budget than 50 Cent's show. If Ross had followed through with this idea, it could have been a huge opportunity for Big Meech to make some significant money. But once again, Ross didn't follow through. It was just talk with no real action behind it. The most frustrating part of this entire situation is that 50 Cent owns the rights to the Black Mafia family story for TV and film. This means that Rick Ross couldn't pursue making a BMF series legally without involving 50 Cent. So, all of Ross's boasting and big claims were for nothing in the end. Meanwhile, Meech is still struggling financially, and 50 Cent continues to mock him online. Rick Ross hasn't done anything to help Big Meech either. He was very vocal when it came to using Meech's name to get at 50 Cent. But now that the situation is getting tougher, he's gone silent. This whole situation shows why 50 Cent has mocked Rick Ross for years. 50 claims that Ross only brings him up when he wants attention. Whenever Ross needs to trend or stay in the spotlight, he seems to mention 50's name. It's clear that Ross jumped on the BMF bandwagon just to get back at 50 Cent. Recently, Rick Ross reignited his feud with 50 Cent by mentioning 50's late mother in an Instagram story. Ross boasted that he was the only person who could truly get to 50 Cent, and even brought up Tony Yayo, claiming he had warned 50 Cent about his mistakes. Ross also took shots at Yayo and Uncle Murder, mocking them for looking old and even suggesting that they needed skincare treatments. Tony Yayo, known for his loyalty to 50 Cent, didn't take it quietly. He replied, explaining that he's used to being dragged into 50 Cent's disputes because of their close friendship. Yayo emphasized that he wouldn't have said anything if he were in Ross's position. After attacking Yayo, Ross switched tactics and started mocking 50 Cent's business ventures. He criticized the G-Unit Studios project in Louisiana, suggesting that 50 Cent couldn't finish it because he was broke and couldn't get any more loans. Ross made fun of 50, saying that it was all falling apart and that 50 was struggling to get it done. This didn't sit well with 50 Cent, of course, who quickly fired back, mocking Ross for making a guest appearance on the Millennium Tour alongside artists like Bow Wow, Omarion, and Trey Songz. For 50, it was a sign that Rick Ross wasn't the powerful figure he pretended to be. It seemed absurd that a so-called rap mogul would be listed below Bow Wow on a tour lineup. In the end, this drama all unfolded because Rick Ross couldn't stop talking about 50 Cent. The person who really suffered through all of this was Big Meech. During the original BMF era, Meech was known for being ruthless, and if you owed him anything, he would make sure to get it back. There are now